Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for August 31, 2021, the SPAC Counterattack edition. And we begin with that story from New York Times Dealbook as a group of law firms lined up to condemn lawsuits filed against contentious SPACs or blank check investment vehicles. 49 major national law firms banded together late last week to condemn these lawsuits. SPACs have obviously come under attack, but law firms who specialize in SPAC legal advice, no surprise there, helped organize other firms to issue the statement to claim the lawsuits are without factual or legal basis. Some pretty high-profile law firms have signed on, and typically it's firms who do SPAC legal work. The firms also want to push back on the media attention generated by the 2 leaders in the SPAC attacks, which are John Morley, former SEC Commissioner Robert Jackson, and Morley's a professor. So the backlash against attacks on SPACs has just really begun, and now it's not clear where the SEC stands on this, although SPACs were a sleepy backwater for 18 years and a boomtown in the last 18 months. And simply because the SEC didn't say or do anything about them before, it's certainly not dispositive now. Next up from the Washington Post, more companies are weighing penalties for unvaccinated workers. Delta Airlines is unlikely to be the only major company to apply cost to the vaccination hesitant, as many companies are considering imposing financial penalties on workers who refuse to get the coronavirus vaccine, from added healthcare costs to withholding gym access, potentially adding a financial cost in addition to severe health risks faced by the unvaccinated. Delta Airlines added a $200 monthly surcharge for health insurance, and other employers are looking to potentially do the same. Next up from Bloomberg, an article in the opinion section that ESG accounting requires accountants to actually be able to do the accounting work around ESG. While ESG may seem largely factual, it is the measurement and reporting are not standardized in the way financial reporting is. This creates an opportunity for people who are in the business of doing so to do so. So many of the big 4 accounting firms and others are jumping in, but we're going to have some standards around this, and I think that's well known by everyone, certainly around internal controls as well. So as ESG matures, the areas around it will mature. And finally, more Peleton woes. It is under increasing investigation by the Department of Justice and, somewhat interestingly, Department of Homeland Security. It comes after a child was pulled under one of its treadmills and killed. Peleton was aware of these defects, yet did not have a product recall, and they are ruining that day now. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.